Hey, welcome back, Pokemon fans! We've had 7 generations of Pokemon with over 800 different Pokemon available to catch, train, battle, and love. Over the generations, we've had 18 different types of Pokemon introduced. Tons of Pokemon rock dual typings, giving them different advantages and disadvantages in battle. However, there are certainly some Pokemon that's typings don't make any sense to me. Whether it's because of their design making them appear to be a different type than they are, or their move pools reflecting a different type than they are. In this video, I'm going to cover 10 Pokemon whose typings I think could use some changing. And as always with these top 10s, this is just my opinion. I don't expect everyone to agree with my thoughts on these Pokemon, but without any further ado, let's hop into it. Flygon is a dual dragon and ground type Pokemon, and while I certainly see the dragon in this Pokemon, I've never really been able to see the ground typing. I mean, its previous evolutions resemble ground-burying bugs, so why isn't Flygon a bug type? It certainly looks like a bug, and it's even in the bug type egg group. And Flygon is almost entirely on this list because of its looks. While it does get some access to bug type moves, it doesn't have enough to make me think that at some point Game Freak meant for him to be a bug type. He's also been heavily covered by other people on why versus why not he shouldn't be a bug. For me personally, I just love imagining how this guy would be if he got access to stab bug moves like Leech Life and X-Scissor. I also think Flygon would be an amazing candidate for Quiver Dance. He gets so many amazing special attacking moves from tutors that I think he could really benefit from it. Gyarados is an amazing Pokemon that clearly grabbed some inspiration from the Chinese dragons. Yet, for some reason it's not a dragon type. It's water flying. Now, back in Generation 1, I understood why it wasn't a dragon. Dragons were extremely overpowered back then, and Gyarados was available pretty early in the game if you were willing to grind out through training a Magikarp. I can't help but wonder though if at some point Gyarados was meant to be a dragon. He learns a fair share of dragon type moves, and he certainly looks the part. He's even in the Dragon Egg group. In Generation 6, when Mega Evolutions came around, Game Freak finally had a chance to make Gyarados have the Dragon typing. But instead they made him a giant fish and added on a Dark typing instead. I've always felt this was such a missed opportunity and that Gyarados really does deserve a Dragon typing. Now, when I was a kid and introduced to Noctowl, the only clue I had to its typing was from the anime. And because of this, I always assumed that Noctowl was flying psychic. Looking at its move pool from the games, it's also extremely easy to make that assumption as well. It's full of psychic type moves. Ash's Noctowl also had a full range of psychic moves that made it an extremely useful member of his team in the Johto region.
What's that?
I'm not sure, but I think maybe Noctowl just learned how to use confusion.
It's the sensor!
Imagine how amazing Noctowl would be if it had access to Stab Psychic and Psyshock. I personally think this Pokemon would benefit so much from a type change. Florges is by far one of the best Fairy-type Pokemon introduced to us in Generation 6. It's an amazing special wall with tons of colorful forms, and it quickly cemented itself into Pokemon fans' hearts both for its cute appearance and its usefulness in battle. But one thing has always confused me. Why isn't Florges part grass type? I've always heard the argument for Flabebe and Floette being that their flower is just an accessory, and you wouldn't make Farfetch'd a grass type because it carries around a leek with it, but at this point, Florges isn't just carrying a flower around with it anymore. It's a full-blown flower. Just look at its move pool. It has more grass-type moves than it does fairy-type moves. And it gets even more grass-type moves from the move tutor. It also has access to some of the most powerful grass-type moves in the game. I almost feel that because Whimsicott was also given the fairy typing in Generation 6, Game Freak didn't want to make 2 grass fairy-type mons. But that's no excuse for this. Florges really should be grass fairy, and not just a pure fairy type. Dunsparce is a pure normal type Pokemon. Why? I'm not at all sure. It's got wings, the anime shows it flying, and its Pokédex states that it buries in the ground, and its wings allow it to fly a little bit. So why isn't Dunsparce a ground flying type? It certainly gets access to a couple of ground and flying type moves, but not a ton of them. I can't help but feel that this typing makes more sense than normal typing though. Imagine Dunsparce with Serene Grace, Glare, and Stab Air Slash, or Stab Earth Power, or just anything but normal typing, please. Just imagine if he could use Tailwind, or take advantage of Stab ground moves. He might even be able to give the other mons with this typing a run for their money. Okay, maybe not, but I still think that Flying Ground would be amazing on Dunsparce. When I look at Aurorus, I can see its ice typing, from the cool blue colors to the amazing Aurora-like fans on its head. What I don't really see is its rock typing. I mean, sure it has crystals on it, but so do Pokemon like Sableye, Espeon, and Starmie, and they aren't rock types. When I look at Aurorus, I can easily imagine this Pokemon being an ice fairy type. While Aurorus doesn't get any fairy type moves on its own, I really think it could benefit from moves such as Moonblast, Dazzling Gleam, and even Aromatic Mist. Plus, tell me this little cutie doesn't look like it could be a fairy. Druddigon is a seriously cool looking Pokemon with its craggy, rocky looking skin, but yet it's a pure dragon type Pokemon. I've always felt like he could be a partial rock type. Its Pokédex talks about it living in caves with Excadrill and Onix, and it also talks about how its head is harder than a rock. While Druddigon doesn't learn any rock type moves from level up, and only a couple from TM, I still think this Pokemon could benefit from a dual typing. Well, yes, it would add some weakness to this mon. I also think a Stab, Head Smash, Stone Edge, or even a setup move like Rock Polish would really help Druddigon out, especially since its base speed is so low. Basia Don is a rock steel type Pokemon, but the more I look at it, the more design-wise I don't see the rock typing on it. Evidently, Game Freak really didn't see it either, considering it learns one rock-type move via level up. And while it learns a ton of rock-type moves via Tutor and TM, it's a little strange to me that a dual-type Pokemon only learns one move of its type without outside intervention. I personally would love to drop the rock typing on it and just make Basia Don a pure steel-type Pokemon. Klinklang is quite literally a gear. A steel gear, so its steel typing makes sense to me. But its Pokédex constantly talks about how it stores a charged power, and how it can fire this power off. And looking at its move pool, it's not hard to see what that power is. Electricity. Klinklang, the pure steel-type Pokemon, learns 9 electric moves via level up versus 6 steel-type moves. Why not make Klinklang an electric steel type? Even its abilities plus and minus are only learned by electric-type Pokemon, except for Klinklang and its evolutionary line. Now before we get to the number 1 Pokemon whose typing I would love to see changed, let's have a quick lightning round. During the brainstorming for this video, I had a ton of ideas for Pokemon whose typings I would love to change, and sadly, they couldn't all fit into this video, so let's give them a really quick glance before we end off. Disturb not the harmony of fire, ice, or lightning, lest these titans wreak destruction upon the world in which they clash, though the water's great guardians shall rise to quell the fighting. Does this sound familiar? It probably should. It's from the second Pokemon movie. And if you've seen the second movie, it's pretty easy to figure out that fire, ice, and lightning are Moltres, Articuno, and Zapdos. So who is the great guardian of the water? Could it be the mythical water-type Manaphy? The Sea Basin Pokemon Kyogre? What about the Aurora Pokemon Suicune? These are all water-type legendaries. so surely it must be one of them, right? Yeah, no, it's Lugia. The Great Sea Guardian isn't even a water type. Why in the world is Lugia not a water type? In Pokemon Soul Silver, the start-up screen shows Lugia underwater. You encounter him in a water-filled cave. In so many instances from the anime and Pokemon movies, Lugia is shown underwater. Yes, it can fly, but so can Reshiram, and he's not part flying type. Lugia also gets a ton of powerful water type moves. His Pokédex states that he sleeps in the sea, is the guardian of the sea, and lives in the sea. So why couldn't Game Freak make him a water type? And that's it, 10 Pokemon who have the wrong types, in my opinion. Were there any that you really agreed with? Any you didn't? Do you have any type change suggestions yourself? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you like this video, you can always give that like button a click. And if you want to see more top 10s, shiny highlights, and general Pokemon content from me, you can always click that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be sure to catch you over on the next video.